I'm building another fish room.
For me.
It was 2 years ago when I built a fake wall here, covered in false brick that I created. In each tank was Lake Tanganyika cichlids. Over here, Frontosa. Over here, Tropheus. Fish are still in the tanks, but the wall is gone. And it was 1 year ago when we started building Tamara's fish room. Beyond the tanks and over in this wall area, my hot water tank, my furnace, and a bunch of other just random supplies that you shouldn't store around furnaces, but none of that works anymore. My hot water tank gave out. I replaced it with electric. The furnace is ran by oil, a 200-gallon oil tank that's in my house. This was okay at one point, but not anymore. Not only does that furnace gotta go, but the oil tank has to go. And if I don't, my insurance for the house is going to be canceled and I won't be able to get more house insurance until all of this is gone. So maybe I can remove this and a lot of the plumbing and stuff, but all of the vents, everything that has anything to do with all the old system has to go. Maybe I can get this out of the door that's just right here, but this entire system back here, look at the size of the furnace. This is gonna take a lot more room. So a year ago, Tamara knew that I might have to temporarily shut her fish room down, and she was okay with it, because what if she didn't like fish keeping? But now she loves fish keeping, specifically shrimp keeping. And I want to save all her tanks, so I thought, let's do something with this room. Well, there wasn't a wall there before. There is now. This is just random stuff that was in there. It's all going to be taken out of here, but this hallway is 4 feet wide. This wall I constructed within a couple of hours, and it's all exposed beams. I painted them black, and each beam has in between has a mirror, which I thought was kind of cool, and I already had all the mirrors, so I thought, yeah, let's do it. I still haven't installed the door, my electrical panel, no tanks can go near this, and I've got to clean it up and whatnot, but the wall is now constructed. The room is over 17 feet long and around 11 feet wide. It's almost double the size of what she has now. It doesn't look like a big room, and it's probably because there's 180-gallon tanks in here, but it certainly is. You'll notice that this half of the room was painted white, and this half is started to be painted black. That's because while she's going to take up the majority of the room, I'm still going to be putting fish tanks in here for myself. These are going to come forward. We're going to keep the 180s. Don't worry about that, as well as the fish in them. But behind them will be racks for me. And my focus will be on, of course, growing fish out and breeding. Oh, and I should mention, because Tamara's been documenting this on her channel before me and will continue to a lot more, because we still have many other videos that we have to upload about the aquarium gallery. But one of the concerns was, like, that I read a few times was like, well, why does Joey need fish tanks there in the first place? Well, Tamara's not looking to have more tanks, even though she will be having more than she originally did. She's just happy that she gets to have a better layout and more room for her tanks. And getting more, but she doesn't want the whole room and would appreciate my eyes being down there with her. Because you gotta remember, she's only been in the hobby for 1 year, and slamming her with like a fish room isn't exactly how you start out in the hobby. However, this isn't going to be your typical fish room. It's going to be the special needs aquariums fish rooms, because we have so many tanks. 180s, we got 15 gallons, we've got 4-foot long tanks, 3-foot long tanks, 16-inch tall tanks, we have cube tanks, all these different sizes, and that's typically not what you would see in a fish room, because ideally I showed her a rendering of what I could do with this room if I were to set it up like a true hobbyist fish room, and I'd put 108 15-gallon tanks in there. A complete rack, 3 tall here, front to back, and 1 here and 1 there. Still giving me 4 feet of space in between. This room seems small on camera, but it is relatively big, and I've come up with an idea of how to fit in all the aquariums we want, plus add in a lot more. Now, of course, after we ripped down everything here, which was absolutely beautiful, I saved a lot of the materials because it is gorgeous. And these tanks will be saved. I'll be repurposing a lot. And then, of course, I got to paint all of this area black, because I thought, wouldn't it be funny and or kind of cool that if one half of the fish room is white, which would signify her half, and then the other half is black, which would signify my area. To get to my area, you got to pass through a couple of tanks that will be moved up here. The initial plans are simple, but before we get to that, to build a wall, it's a simple 2x4 wall. We've got a 2x4 going up there, a 2x4 going up there, and then studs spaced every 16 inches. Now, because it's not a structural wall, I don't really have to worry about it being up to code. It's a false wall. But the mirrors going in between it kind of make this space a little bit bigger. And since we don't ever use this space, that's where the idea came from. I tried so many different ideas down here. I had pool tables down here. We had fish tanks down here. I had an entertainment area with a projection screen, and nothing seemed to get us to use this area. Tamara just comes down here and does laundry. And again, I got to clean all this up and get it all out of here. But now we can purpose this room and put a door on here, and the wall only has to exist because I have Savannah cats, and I can assure you that they will make short work of the fish and the aquariums. The downside to this is that we do have a support structure here. This is just wood, but behind it is a metal pole that holds up a brace that goes all the way across the floor of the upstairs, and there's actually 3 of them total. When we get everything ripped out, I'll relocate the forced air and I will knock this complete wall out, expanding this by another 20 feet. However, for the time being, we're going to build her shrimp tank rack right here. The rack will be approximately 15 feet long. It will hold 6 tanks on top, 6 tanks in the middle, and 4 tanks on the bottom. The 4 tanks we don't have right now, but they are optional for expansion. Right here, kind of where that board is and those tools are, will be this 180-gallon tank. Directly across from it will be one of those cube tanks that I built. Will go right here. And then this tank will go right beside it, creating almost another wall. So in order to get to my side, we'll have to go through a couple of aquariums. On my side, I'm not conclusive on what I'm going to do, but I don't really need a ton of tanks for the ideas and things that I would like to do. I'm trying to make sure the gallery just has a bunch of really cool tanks, and not just a bunch, but tanks that are automated and can almost take care of themselves. And then this area will be for my breeding, grow outs, quarantine, that sort of thing maybe. At least for the time being, because I have something even bigger planned for the new year. And I want the gallery to be a place of relaxation as opposed to havoc. If you haven't noticed lately, when you go out to the aquarium gallery, it's always a mess. Everything is everywhere all the time. And I struggle to keep the place not only clean, but organized. The tanks are doing great and the fish are doing even better, but we could make that a true area, like a Zen gallery where you really go out there and you really spend a lot of time with each individual aquarium. Whereas when I come in here, we get down to business. The first thing I'm going to have to do is build her racking system. And then she's getting another rack right here, a 180 here, a 180 there, plus her cube tank. When I say racks, it could mean 2 tanks. And then on my side will probably be another 12 to 16 foot long rack, because the room is 17 feet. So, but none of this will be automated. Her entire fish room will most likely be no filters, whereas mine will be running off of 1 filter or 2 filters, plus quarantine tanks will obviously be standalone if I put the quarantines in here in the first place. As for these tanks, so they don't have their lights on because I'm obviously tearing everything apart, but the background in this tank, if you can kind of see it, it's coming out. The rocks will stay in it. And when this tank comes here, you'll be able to see through the tank, plus we'll have towering up to 18-inch tall rocks with all of the trophies. You'll be able to see through it. It'll make the room look a lot brighter and really cool. Same with this tank. This will be a Frontosa tank, and we're going to keep it like that. Now, originally I thought maybe I'll take these guys and I'll put them in the 375 outside, and we'll see if that still happens. But as of right now of this filming, that's the plan. The stands, when you're on her side, will also be painted white. When you're on my side, they'll all be painted black. And what that means is if she ever goes on my side, you'll notice the black stands and stuff, and you guys will have to comment on her channel because she's going to be doing all her own videos and have been documenting this process far before me to get out of Joey's side. Go on your own side. I'm totally actually cool. She can go do like little updates because I always forget and she likes to do them all the time. But this could potentially be a fun little fish room, heated by the heat pump likely. We do have a window here, which goes outside, but it's level with the yard. So we're technically below ground right now. No racks will be taller than the 180s either. So that'll be relatively symmetrical and look really cool as well. And I'm really excited about this build because, well, it's gonna keep me busy and keep my hands off the tanks in the 2000 for now, in the gallery for now. Well, I kind of finished those up because, to be fair with you, I think I'm only going to end up with like maybe 5 really big tanks, really nice tanks in the aquarium gallery, and then I'll have maybe another 10 in here. Tamara will have, I think, around 20. But again, something even bigger planned for next year, and this is all part of a bigger plan. And pulling the trigger on a lot of things a little sooner than later so I can get them done. Make sure that we can get house insurance because, well, if this insurance gets canceled and the house burns down, well, there's nothing we can do about it. And I think that's only a matter of time with the types of projects I do. But yeah, I really like this wall because a lot of my house is blacks, whites, and grays because I'm colorblind, and these are the colors that I enjoy the most because, well, I like the contrast. So this is like an off-white and then black. I got to clean the mirrors. The cats like to paw them and climb all over them, but very cool. And once we get all of this stuff out of here, it'll seem less of a small area. But if you look, this is 4 feet wide. That's how much space she'll have in between her tanks because she's setting her aquariums up as displays, whereas I'm not. Mine are functional purpose tanks. They won't necessarily be scaped, and I don't need a ton of room to stand back and admire. It's going to be very similar to my discus breeding days, which I had a tremendous amount of success with, and it actually all happened in that room over there that she's in now. It'd be very cool to knock this wall out and turn my entire basement into a fish room though. But if I knock that wall out and I turn that part into a fish room, it'll be a true fish room and I will automate it. For now, I will do this, and if I knock that wall out, I will have that half and she can have this half. Anyways, that's the plan for now. I gotta get to building all of these different stands, and the interesting thing about these stands is they're not all the same. For example, her rack, and I probably should stop calling it her rack, especially since she's my wife, but the 15-gallon rack is going to be solid pieced wood, so it'll be 15 feet long. And then there's another rack that I have to do that I'm gonna incorporate 2x4s and concrete blocks. Other ones, they're all gonna kind of be different, but I'll be painted. It'll look good. I gotta add trim to the 180 stands and whatnot, and hopefully I get a little bit of help, but we'll see. And if you guys wanna see any of that, make sure you subscribe to my channel. But if you wanna see it way in advance, subscribe to Tamara's channel because she's been uploading this far before me. Or if you want a behind the scenes look and follow along in a different way, make sure you join my channel to the members only, because they see everything in a different light. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next one. Oh, and I told you my house was gray and white and stuff.